Hawaii. I had purchased a house from a man who was going to be moving in with one of his sons as he was getting on in years and needed a little more help with day-to-day things. He had raised his family in the home and lived there for many years, so the transition was hard for him. We reached an agreement that, although I would be able to move in at closing, he would have some things still in the garage and basement and would have help from family members to get all of his belongings out within a week or two. On the day that I was moving in, he was at the house and told me that he had somehow misplaced one of his favorite smoking pipes. He thought that he had laid it down on the kitchen counter but couldn't find it anywhere. It seemed to be quite upsetting to him, although he had many more, so I promised that I would look for it, and if I found it, would let him know right away. And since he was going to be coming over during the following couple of weeks to collect the rest of his belongings, I would set it aside so that he could pick it up. I had a few friends help me move the things from my small apartment into my new home, and had offered to compensate for their time with pizza and beer. After everything was moved in and dinner was finished, everyone began to file out wishing me well on my first night in my new house. As the last person was getting ready to leave, I asked him if he could please go in and replace the toilet seat with the new one that I had purchased. I had already put a new black seat cover and rug into the bathroom and wanted a new toilet seat to make it feel more fresh and mine. He went into the bathroom while I cleaned up the pizza boxes and the rest of the dinner mess. I had just finished when he came out. I thanked him and let him know that it was just in time because I had to relieve myself of the liquid refreshments from the day. I walked into the bathroom and found a driver's license lying face down on top of the bathroom rug. I assumed that it belonged to my friend that had been on his knees installing my toilet seat, and that maybe it came out of his pocket while he was bent over. Without looking at it, I set it on the edge of the sink, did what I had come in there to do, washed and dried my hands, and then looked at the license. It belonged to a female who had the same last name as the man that I had just bought the house from. I came out of the bathroom and asked my friend where he had found the driver's license. He looked a little confused and asked what license. I replied, the license that was lying on top of the bathroom rug. You had to see it. The rug is black, so anything that's not black, like a white driver's license, would stand out. He again denied seeing anything in the bathroom, even when I showed it to him. I set it on top of a shelf near the front door, assuming that it must belong to one of the former owner's relatives, and maybe they had dropped it, and somehow or another, maybe it got stuck to the bottom of my friend's boot and just happened to come off as he left my bathroom. Whatever had happened, I would make sure to return it to the family the next day when they came over to retrieve another load of belongings. When the former owner showed up the next day, I greeted him at the door and chatted with him for a few minutes. He was about to walk down the steps to go to the garage when I remembered the license. I stopped him and explained that one of his family members must have dropped their license as they were helping him move the day before. He took it from me, looked at it and had tears well up in his eyes. I noticed that his hand began to shake, and he looked towards the driveway where one of his kids was waiting for him. His son came towards him and asked, "Dad, what's wrong?" He just handed the license to his son. The son looked at it and then looked up at me and asked, "Where did you get this?" I explained to him what happened the night before. He then turned back towards his dad, who was now down in the drive wiping his eyes. He said, "Dad, I thought you had put all of her stuff away." His father replied, "I did. We put everything in a box and I have never opened it." The son then explained to me that the license belonged to his sister, who had died many years previous in a terrible accident. I had many other things happen in that house over the years that I lived there. Everything from hearing footsteps like someone was walking in heels on a hardwood floor, even though I had installed carpet in most every room, to hearing someone knock very loudly on my front door, even though the motion sensor light was never activated and the screen door was locked, so it could not have come from outside the house.